Answering your comments, part 1. This comment is interesting because it contains the answer as well within the words. Islam is very simple. Atiyu Allah wa atiyu Rasul. Obey Allah and obey His Messenger. It's when you start thinking that you or someone that you like or follow knows better than Allah and His Messenger that things become, as the comment said, confusing. It's simple. Don't try to put yourself above Allah and His Prophet and you'll be fine. Don't get pulled into the lies and deceptive rhetoric. What matters is what the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said. Because it was him who prophesied that the Messiah will come, that he'll be a Nabi, and that we must do his bai'at. So what more is left to argue about? If someone you adore and trust says that a person will come to the house later in the day, specifies what that person will look like, what time they'll come, what they'll say, what kind of ID they'll have, and they turn up, who in their right mind would reject this? And if that person does reject it, how can they still claim to love and have trust in the person that gave them that news? And this is exactly the same concept with the prophecy of the coming Messiah or the promised Messiah by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him, where he has explained who the person will be, what his name will be, the signs he will come with, and what time he will come. And yet still, despite all of this, people still reject him coming. As for the advent of another prophet, that's quite simply above our pay grade. Both me and you. That's down to Allah. For now, we have been given the institution of Khilafat, which is the one unifying force in the Muslim Ummah, and that we, as members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, follow in obedience to the instructions of Allah and His Messenger. The comment talks about confusion and fear and the emergence of innovations, but these are all symptoms of the disease of rejecting the elect of God. Until and unless people wake up to this divine standard bearer of God's living message, this disease will continue to spread and damage the body of the Muslim Ummah. Comment number 2. This is a brilliant question, but one that has been answered many times before. Let's do a quick definition check. Nabi comes from naba'a, used as prophet, but actually means to receive knowledge from the unseen, revelation. Mahdi means the one who is guided. Khatamun Nabiyyin, the seal of the prophets, or the seal of the ones who receive knowledge from the unseen. That's our definitions. Now, it is clear that one who is guided, the Mahdi, must be guided by God, whose knowledge is sublime and unseen, and which He reveals only to those whom He wills. On the other hand, a Nabi is literally a person who receives knowledge from the unseen, i.e. receives revelation from Allah. So how can one who is the Mahdi, i.e. the one guided by Allah, not actually receive any revelation from Allah? In reality, these are two names for the same person, prophecy to come in the latter days. One who receives revelation from God, Nabi, and is thus guided by that revelation, Mahdi. Next, let's have a quick dive into the meaning of Khatamun Nabiyyin, the seal of the prophets. Now, don't let Maulvis lie to you. All Muslims believe that the Mahdi, or the promised Messiah, will come in the latter days, and that he will be a Nabi. Rejecting this is rejecting the words of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ himself, who called the coming Messiah and Mahdi a Nabiullah no less than 4 times in a hadith of Sahih Muslim. So a Nabi to unify all peoples will come if we believe the Holy Prophet to be true. So it's quite clear that the Holy Prophet ﷺ did not mean that no prophet will come after me, as this would mean that he was, God forbid, either unsure about it himself or that he, God forbid, gave 2 different messages to people. So what does seed of the prophets mean then? Khatam means the very best, the apex, and this is clear. One example of hundreds is how Hazrat Ali anhu was called Khatamul Awliya, the seal of the friends of God, the seal of friends, by the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ himself. Clearly, friendship didn't come to an end with Hazrat Ali. Rather, this is a common term used by Arabs to denote superiority and excellence, the Khatam. The Holy Prophet was the very best of creation, the apex of the prophets. Seal also refers to a seal of approval, that anyone who comes bearing the name of God after the advent of Islam can only do so bearing the mark and seal of approval of the Holy Prophet himself, i.e. they must represent him and his teachings. No prophet after the Holy Prophet may come following any other law than that of the Holy Prophets. they must be Muslim. So when we add all of these definitions together, we paint a very definitive description. The one to come will be the Messiah and Mahdi, and to be so, he must be a Nabi. And that most importantly, in order to abide by the definition of the Holy Prophet, he will bear his seal, in that he will be a Muslim. Comment number 3. The question is not about good or bad. The question is, what have we been told? We are clearly told by both the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Hazrat Isa alayhi salam is dead. Not least of all when at the death of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the verse, Muhammad is only a messenger, surely all prophets have passed away before him, was recited to explain that all prophets without exception had died. This of course included Jesus alayhi salam. We are also told that the dead cannot come back to earth, because if that was the case, then surely we should be calling for the best of creation, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to be sent back to guide us. For who can guide the Muslims better than he? So this is the first point, that regardless of what we think is good or not, we must abide by the rules laid down by Allah the Almighty. We cannot go against them. Jesus, son of Mary, will not and cannot return. But let's say, for argument's sake, he could. What would be the point? Evidently, God's knowledge is all-encompassing, and he deemed it that a Nabi, a Messiah, was needed. But did he, God forbid, realize this after the Holy Prophet died? Do you not see how illogical and disrespectful that is? That a prophet who does not even pledge allegiance to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is sent to solve the problems in the Muslim Ummah. He was born before the Holy Prophet and lived on after him. This utterly illogical and fabricated story is not only defamatory to the knowledge of Allah, but to the spiritual power of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, and indeed the entire Ummah of Islam. In reality, the Messiah was to bear the hallmark and seal of the Holy Prophet. He was to be a Muslim from the people of Muhammad, who had foregone his life in serving the mission of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For the latter-day Messiah to be a Muslim and to declare all that he is as a result of his devotion to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is testimony to the greatness of Rasulullah. Whereas the coming of Jesus would, God forbid, declare the failure of the mission of Islam and its prophet. And that is something that no Muslim should ever accept.